Hello everyone, welcome to the Telco Business Transformation Tour. My name is Bülent Ünsal, and I'm the head of Telco industry for SAP EMEA South region. In this session, we're gonna talk about sustainability. Although energy efficiency, sustainability, these are the topics in the strategic agendas of telcos, I see it becoming as one of the major talking points, especially in the last 2 years as 5G scales. Even during MWC this year, almost every topic somehow was linked to sustainability. My guests today are Carlos Diaz, our Chief Sustainability Officer in EMEA South, and Stamatia Vetsi, the Climate Action and Sustainability Business Development Expert in SAP EMEA South region. So, Carlos, let me start with you. I know that SAP has developed a framework for sustainability. Can you please explain to us, elaborate on what is that framework, please?
Thank you very much, Bülent, for the invitation to participate in BTT. And I would like to start just by framing the problem. What is the telecom industry represents in terms of CO2 emissions in the world? When we are talking about this, we are talking about around 4% of the total CO2 emissions. And just to put it in context, again, this is double what the civil aviation industry emits. So it is very important. That's the context. And it's only expected to grow. So the expectation of data traffic is 60% growth per year. So Bülent, the thing is that this is an important topic for the industry. It's an important topic for society, and it will be growing unless we do something meaningful. So with that in mind, we have a framework, and these are the three major reasons why telecom providers come to SAP for help. Reason number one is with all this environment, they want to be compliant with the new regulation. And there's a ton of new regulation, not only in the European Union, coming out of the Green Deal, but all over the world. There's regulation putting pressure on telco operators to reduce the impact in the environment. This is number one. Number two is that, of course, these same telecom operators want to use sustainability to improve their efficiency. It is obvious that when you spend less resources, you can be more profitable, you can improve your margins. And last but not least, and this is very important, they want to connect to a growing population that is a green population and that wants to understand which are those green products and services that the telco operators are offering and how can they distinguish themselves against their competitors. So this is a framework, and we have to understand now that if we translate or dig deeper into how this affects the telco industry, we see in the first place that this compliance issue that is arriving happens in the middle of this data traffic growth that we're experiencing. It also happens after the pandemic in an environment where people are working remotely more and more, and where many companies are replacing their physical assets by digital twins. So we are dematerializing part of the economy. So more compliance problems or opportunities, depends of how you see it for those telco providers. If we go to the efficiency space, we also see that we can tackle advantages, for example, in energy usage from the 5G mobile infrastructure that apparently can consume even up to 70% less energy than their 4G counterparts, and also other things that can be tackled in this industry. And last but not least, this industry has a responsibility to promote the right use of technology, and also to let's say, invite the consumers to enter the circular economy, to recycle, to repair the devices. We're going to talk about that more in a minute. But I would like to finish with what we call the telecommunications decarbonization architecture. And one thing is clear, and all our customers agree on this: you cannot fix what you cannot measure. So the first thing is that you need a sustainability accounting system, the same way that you have a financial accounting system. That is so simple to understand, but it's so difficult to tackle because you need a lot of data. If we click again, we see that that data is coming from many different systems because you have to gather scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions. And those data, those pieces of data to have a sustainability accounting system comes from many different systems inside the organization, primary data, and also outside of the organization, secondary data. And at the end of the day, you need a sustainability control tower when you can really tackle those 3 opportunities that we mentioned: accountability, profitability, desirability, Bulent.
Very good. I mean, it's very clear that this framework can help decarbonize their own houses for the telcos, and we are seeing commitments from telcos for net zero. Majority of these commitments are for 2050. However, some groups also have more ambitious targets. Vodafone announced targets for 2040. Verizon the same, 2040. Telefonica and Telia made even further commitments in the 2030. So I would like to take Telefonica as an example. They announced that they have 3 main climate targets. One is, as you mentioned, the energy efficiency and reducing the energy consumption. Because you also mentioned the new technologies like 5G or so are consuming or letting to consume much more energy, but new technologies help for that. This is what you mentioned. Second is utilizing the renewable energy, and the third is reducing its carbon footprint to achieve net zero emissions in 2030. So including the full value chain, which you also mentioned as especially the emission 3. So it is clear that this framework can help the telcos to decarbonize. However, what I want to ask is how telcos are helping or can help the others using this framework and using other technologies and their own technologies like mobility, connectivity, and further other technologies, how to help other companies to decarbonize themselves. So Slamatya, can you explain, what are the use cases, how telcos can help other customers as well, please?
Yeah. Sure, thank you, Bulent. So the industry has a dual mission: to reduce greenhouse gas emissions for their own operations and also to help other industries, as you mentioned, to reduce their emissions by providing smart products and services and sell as a service. They say that the positive impact of telcos that have on the other industries is 10 times the greenhouse gas emissions. So how they can help? They can help with the dematerialization. They can help companies to save energy by replacing the high carbon physical products and services with low carbon equivalents. For example, take the example of the virtual meetings versus the physical presence that due to COVID, after COVID, the digital communication has increased, as also Carlos mentioned. The second thing is that they can help companies to deploy circular solutions by digitalization and connectivity. And the third, together with the IT sectors, they can help to companies to use digital twins and simulate performances. For example, if we take a manufacturing company that creates aircraft, by simulating the performance of the engine in real time, they can take decisions of how to minimize greenhouse gas emissions. And also, I would like to finish with the fourth area that telcos can help. They can help on the wealth, prosperity, creation of new jobs, and multi-sectional development. And if we take, for example, the agricultural sector, with the improved access to information needed for developing methods for operations, marketing and distributions for agricultural products, the people will keep settled in their original environment, will be motivated to work the lands, and also the rural economy will be developed. And this is very important and shows how critical the industry is for developing other industries.
Very good. So what I see is, I mean, that framework that Carlos introduced, is a fit for purpose to measure their carbon footprint so that they can measure the decarbonization for their own house. But also the same footprint can be used, the framework can be used for other industries from the telcos so that they have the impact. They can use that framework to help others to decarbonize. So therefore, we are already, as telco organization, helping other industries in different digitalization, but now bringing sustainability as another topic to digitize their other industries services as well. So this is a very good additional enlargement for us with telcos as well. So thank you for explaining. Another topic that I want to discuss is beside the carbon emissions is the waste. Because waste is the second major factor contributing any telco's environmental footprint. Because in the past, telcos was more on selling as a service. So it was a pure digital, business. But now telcos are also selling lots of digital gadgets, from handsets to accessories and many further equipment as well. And that becomes also a major topic. So in terms of waste, of course, the goal is the circular economy. So this is the base of the principles designing out waste and pollution, keeping products and materials in use, and regenerating the natural systems. So we also see new models in the industry where, for example, the handset suppliers and telcos are bringing up new business models. So is there anything that you can share with us, Carlos, regarding the emission tree, this circular economy, and that waste topic as well, please?
These are two sides of the same coin. Profitability has to be sustainable and sustainability has to be profitable, because remember that any company, any telco player can be sustainable tomorrow, but they would go bankrupt. So they really need to understand where they do the investment and how those investments are paying off. If we talk about scope 3, there are two dimensions to understand. There's upstream scope 3, and that for telco represents everything that they buy to make new infrastructure. And in that, they have to be embedding or injecting sustainability criteria to make sure that they buy from providers that are greener, from providers that are closer, from providers that deliver sustainability information in the purchasing process. So there's a lot to do in the purchasing side of things, and our Ariba customers know it very well, because now they can, when they are going to purchase anything, they can inject information, sustainability information coming from third parties. But there's another dimension that has to do more with the circular economy and has to do with scope 3 downstream, which is what happens with all those devices that they sell to consumers. And I would have to say that it is very important that the first thing where they can really make a difference is in education. Educating people that things can last longer, that we consume, but we don't embrace consumerism. And that is a major role to play from telco providers, to tell us that things can be used longer, that things can be repaired, that things can be refurbished, that things can be recycled, and they have to be an active player in this domain. You know why, Bulent? Because if my telco provider is successful in educating me and is successful in letting me know that they are there for a purpose, then they will have my heart, they will reduce churn, and they will make sure that they grow their install base, which are the top line scenarios that one telco wants to see when they are doing bottom line sustainability investments.
Lovely. I like your approach, especially from the customer experience point of view. In fact, just a quick add on what you just said, especially the cycling. One of the major challenges for telcos is to manage the reverse logistics for these handsets and accessories that they sell. So now we are also bringing, although it is not the topic of today's session, but I just want to add as a follow-up for our audience, that we are now helping telcos with our retail and supply chain capabilities to manage the whole reverse logistics of these handsets, where the customers can bring in back and manage all that process. So it is, of course, as always, lovely to discuss with you, talk about sustainability and many other things, but we have limited time as well. So I just want to ask your call to action and recommendations for our telco customers. And one thing I want to underline is, in our audience today, we have both SAP customers who are running their platforms on SAP, but we also have, especially in Africa, in some parts of the EMEA South region, many customers who are running on non-SAP platforms as well. So how can we help these installed base, whether SAP or non-SAP, to manage their decarbonization for themselves, but also for others, to the impact of the business?
Well, if I may, so telco companies, they should upgrade to 5G, they should invest to renewables, and also promote collaboration within and across industries with NGOs, governments, and other businesses. So as Carlos also mentioned, you cannot change what you cannot measure. So it is very important to get the numbers right using flexible technology, to avoid the manual data entry and embrace automation, and also to be sure to comply with the different regulations, either on local level or on a global level, and also combine the financial with the sustainability information, so as to increase revenue, to take decisions for future investments, and do not harm the environment.
Lovely. Anything on your side, Carlos, to add to what Stamatia mentioned?
I have two things to add. One is 99% of what I know about telco you taught me throughout the years. Thank you very much, Bulent. It is also a privilege. And the other 1% was Stamatia, just because we started with this, okay? But just jokes apart, a sustainability accounting system is the first step, as Stamatia mentioned. We are seeing a lot of our customers that are struggling with data acquisition to really understand the new regulations. Don't worry, we know that's the place where we start. We hold your hand. We have done this before, and we can help really with a differentiated technology that is mature enough to respond to the sustainability challenge.
Perfect. Stamatia, Carlos, I'm deeply thankful to you. Thank you for the time. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And as I mentioned in the beginning, sustainability is becoming a major talking point. So even, I am also learning about this, and thank you for contributing and making us to learn about this topic as well. So it was a pleasure to have with you in this session as well. So for the rest of the event for today and other topics, so please tune in to learn about revenue management, innovation in telecommunications, tower management, and further topics will be in the content. And also you can access additional documentation in the booth area. So again, thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure to host you and to talk about sustainability. Thank you and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.